Hello, zany friends, and welcome back to one of my first book full-length videos of 2024. I'm kind of pivoting a little bit. I'll still be doing short form content on my other channels, but right now I'm trying to rebuild that YouTube video process that I had over 10 years ago now. So we are going to jump right in with my favorite books of 2024. And also in this video, I'm going to give you one book for every genre that I read. Plus, I'm going to give you some bonus books as well, because there were some that I just could not leave off this list because I love them so much. So you're going to get 20 books total, and I'm going to go through them pretty rapid fire so you can just one right after the other. Let's go. In my first genre of thriller, I have First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. Now, this is a book about a woman who is a con woman, and it was such a great ride. I thought it was such a fun time. Mystery, I have How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristin Perrin. This is the first in the series. The second one is coming out this year. I also have an arc of that as well, and I cannot wait to read it. I love mysteries, and I actually read this one twice. In YA mystery, I have Needy Little Things by Channelle Desamours, and this one I read actually more towards the end of 2024, but it's about a girl who basically can hear what other people need in her head, and so she goes around giving people things that they need, and then her friend goes missing and she has to figure out where she is and why she disappeared. In sci-fi, I have 0 Stars, Do Not Recommend by MJ Wassmer. This is a book about a couple who go to this soft opening of this resort, and basically the world ends and they're stuck on this island, and it's kind of Lord of the Flies, but it also is resorty, and it has different social tiers. It was very much an interesting, fun read, actually. In romantasy, I have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, which is the wrap up to Divine Rivals. It seems like it's been so long since I read this book because it was the beginning of 2024, but it really did kind of hold up and continue to be my favorite book that was romantasy in type. And there were a lot of good ones, let me tell you. In contemporary, I have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which is the story of two people who decided they're going to kind of have a relationship just during the summer and all the complications that come along with that. I love her writings and the emotion that it provokes. And so if you aren't really sure if contemporary romance is accessible for you, I would definitely try her writing just to see what it does. In YA contemporary, I have X Marks the Spot by Gloria Chao. This is a story of a girl in high school who basically is trying to figure out where she's coming from in her life because her grandfather, who has not been in her life, has basically named her a beneficiary in the will, but she has to go on a scavenger hunt in order to see what that is all about. If you know me, I love books about games, so this one is actually really up my alley because of that. Nonfiction, I have What's Next. That's basically the story of West Wing, which is one of my favorite shows. It's by Melissa McCormack and Mary McCarthy. 2 M's, kind of hard to say. But anyway, this was actually really insightful because I've seen West Wing so many times. And I just thought this was an interesting take on it because it wasn't only just about what was happening behind the scenes, but it also tied into community involvement and outreach. And I thought that was a really insightful way to talk about not only the impact of the show, but also the actors and the cast members in the show and what they did throughout the show and now in the present. I just thought it was great. In horror, a book that lives rent-free in my mind is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer. I'm not going to tell you a lot about this book. If you haven't already heard about it, do yourself a favor, pick it up. It's crazy. In YA horror, I have Tender Beast by Liselle Sambury. She just has a way of writing that is so engrossing, just really gets you into the story. And this is one where some other people in the book have died, and you're wondering if one of the boys in the book is actually a werewolf type animal, but it is not as clear cut as that. And if you're going in there thinking, well, this is a werewolf book, it's not a werewolf book. Okay, so just because I'm saying that, don't take it that way. It's actually not. But give this one a try if you like YA horror. This might be a good one for you to kind of ease yourself into her writing, because she has some stuff that's kind of dark, but also beautiful. In fantasy, I have Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. This is the sequel to The House on the Cerulean Sea. This is one of the perfect books that I've read this year. It is beautiful. The characters are wonderful. I cannot recommend these books enough as a series. I don't know if there's going to be any more in them, but it's just great. In YA fantasy, I have Destroy the Day by Bridget Kemmerer. This book is the third one in Defy the Night series, which I recommend to everybody, Bridget Kemmerer, if you like YA fantasy, because her books are big, but they're also very accessible. And I love rereading them. She has a great way of telling stories. And because these don't take place in the Cursebreakers universe, that has like a whole other thing, but it's written kind of like similarly to those books. It's gorgeous and beautiful, and I seriously, guys, just pick it up if you like fantasy. For holiday, I have The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter, which is basically like almost an Agatha Christie, where these mystery authors go to England and their host disappears and they have to figure out what happened. Loved it for the holiday. Can't wait to read it again next year, actually. In historical fiction, I have After Oz by Gordon McAlpine. If you're a fan of The Wizard of Oz or Wicked or anything like that, you might like this. This actually takes place after Dorothy comes back from Oz, and they're trying to figure out how the woman who's the Wicked Witch basically died, and they're trying to pin it on Dorothy, which could be the truth and could not be. But in this story, it was very intriguing how they wrote it and how they really caused it to be realistic. The last one in my genres is cozy mystery, and that is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. This is actually the first in the series. The second one is No One at This Wedding Was Supposed to Die, I believe is what it's called. Can't wait to read that one. Love it. So much fun. If you like Finley Donovan, if you like Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, this book is definitely along the same vein, and you'll probably really enjoy it. And now for my honorable mentions, I have Notorious Virtues by Alwyn Hamilton. So if you try to pick this book up right now, you can't, because it doesn't come out until June. But I read it in 2024, loved it. It is fantasy. It is epic. Like the story of it all, the universe you find yourself in. I could not put this book down. It was fantastic. And along the same lines, I would like to mention Voyage of the Damned by Frances White, because it's kind of the same thing. It's a mystery. It's on a boat. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, and this book is phenomenal. I loved this book so much. I read it. I recommended it to my book club. Like, everyone I know who has picked up this book has loved this book, so do yourself a favor and pick it up. I also have Attached at the Hip by Christine Riccio, which is kind of like a Survivor. It's couples, and they are actually attached at the hip as they're having to go through these things. It's romance. I mean, I loved it. It's games. It's everything you could want for just a really fun summer read. I also have Hitchcock Hotel by Stephanie Roble. If you're a Hitchcock fan, this book is definitely one you should pick up, because it has so many references to his movies and the mystery genre. And finally, I have The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. This one is one where it's one of those fantasy, like cozy fantasy, like you just curl up in this book and you really just get swept away by the story and the characters and the people, and you love it and you don't want to leave. That's what this book is, okay? If you like fairy tale stories, if you like the Home for Wayward Children series, this is one you should pick up. So those are my top 20 books for 2024. Let me know if you like any of these. Have you read it? Are there any you think I should read that maybe I haven't? Let me know down below. I would love to discuss this with you. And let's just talk books. Until next time, stay zany.